F1 is the truck series. This is not clickbait. If you're looking to get outraged, go do something else. If you're open-minded and want to see F1 differently, then stay tuned. Some NASCAR DFS players don't enjoy the F1 experience. F1 is not an acquired taste. You do not have to learn to appreciate it. You already do. It's called the NASCAR Truck Series. Think of it this way. Max Verstappen wins every race. He dominates. I can't watch. Kyle Busch dominates every race in the Truck Series, and you still watch. Maybe his dominance hasn't been as great, but you were still watching in 2017, 18, and 19, watching Kyle Busch destroy the field every single week. What does that sound a lot like? F1. You still found a way to root for the rest of the battles in the pack. You still found a way to root for the rest of the top 10 while Kyle Busch lapped the field. Same thing with F1. Max is doing his thing, and then you can watch the battles throughout the field. A big complaint in F1 is the lack of passing. Hey, there's not a lot of passing in the Truck Series either. Hate to tell you. It's not that racy when the racing unfolds. The top 20 trucks, they start up front, they run up front, and honestly, there is very little movement, and you can see that on the screen in front of you. We've got it sorted last season's average finish. The driver that averaged the highest finish in terms of rank is Corey Heim with a 6.8, which was the best. He also averaged the second best start. There's not a lot of movement. When we look at drivers in terms of their average finishing position, it pretty much links up with their average starting position. So Formula One, not a lot of movement. Truck Series, hey, yeah, not a lot of movement. And when there is movement, a lot of that movement in the trucks comes down to pit cycling and stage breaks. It's on pit road. Hey, you know what? F1 is the same story. A lot of the passing doesn't necessarily happen on the track. It happens with pitting at the right time, just like in the Truck Series. And when there is gains of track position in the actual race, you know when it happens in the Truck Series. When do drivers make their biggest gains and know that they have to make their biggest gains because later on they're not going to be able to make gains? It's on restarts. I wonder where the biggest position changes happen in Formula One. On hairy restarts. Both of these series, because of the way aerodynamics plays out in both, which is strange comparing a truck to a Formula One vehicle, but the aero often makes it very hard for them to pass once they spread out and fan out. They know that the time to get their getting is at the beginning when the green flags drop on a restart. And so they have to be very aggressive. And we see aggressive restarts in both series. And we see trucks and cars get taken out. I know you may have started this video saying, hey, I hope that I've made a couple points that are quite convincing. I know a truck and a Formula One vehicle are universes apart. But the racing, and especially in DFS, it's really quite similar. And if you enjoy the Truck Series, then you really are missing out by not playing Fantasy F1 or watching the races. It's really not that crazy. Well, let's compare them from a DFS perspective. In F1, just like in the Truck Series, the pricing is really tight. I don't have pricing in front of me, but you know that if you want to play elite cars and Formula One, oh, it's so expensive. It's hard to build lineups. Well, guess what? You want to build good lineups with the top tier Truck Series? They're all really expensive. They're all priced accordingly. They're priced based on their finish, and they start and finish in the same spot, just like in Formula One. They're priced according to what they average finish, and they often start and finish in the same spot. And it's very tight and hard to construct lineups. Furthermore, F1 is all about team battle, sibling rivalry. Well, it's the same in the trucks. In the Truck Series, the teammates are very equal, as we often see in Formula One. And similar to Formula One, The trucks, we have teams that are cooperative and competitive. There is a bond there with the Red Bulls and with the Ferraris and the Mercedes, and they still are competitive against each other. But we also see that with which Thor guy is going to be the guy this week, which McAnally truck is going to rise to the occasion, who's the Tricon guy this week, or Spire driver. They work together, but they also, we see in winning lineups, the one that is better than the rest of those guys. So we have kind of that teammate, cooperative, competitive sibling rivalry. There's a true team feel in F1, and there's a true team feel in the Truck Series. If you appreciate that family team environment that the Truck Series provides, that's also in F1. Another complaint that we get is that, and one thing I want to add to that is you don't necessarily get that in the Xfinity and Cup Series. The Xfinity and Cup Series is me for me, one man for himself. It's very individualistic. There are teams, but rarely do you see those teams working very cooperatively, especially in the Xfinity Series where they are brats and they are career driven and are trying to get to the next level. They're not looking to help out their teammate. They don't even really care about their teammate. A lot of times they don't really associate with their teammate, and often they're just bad mouthing their teammate. And they didn't choose to be on the same team. They just ended up on the same team in the Cup Series because, you know, we're talking about the highest level of stock car racing. For whatever reason, there is a balance of a little bit of teammate, but really it still is. It's me. It's myself. It's I. The Truck Series just doesn't have that feel. It's much more a friendly rivalry, competitive sibling rivalry, however you want to phrase it. Another complaint that you get is, oh, well, there's only 20 cars in F1. And it's just not enough for DFS. Look, there's basically 20 in the trucks. The back of the field is racing for 20th at best. They're not really a factor in the race whatsoever. They're just out there. They're rarely on your TV screen. For all intents and purposes, when you look at the truck field every single week, there are maybe 20 trucks that are quality. The rest are just out there. So if you can't play F1 because there's really only 20 that matter, that's the same as the truck field. It really is. There's not a lot of trucks that you're really going over. Now you can make an argument, well, there's really only 10 in the F1 that we care about. Sure, if you want to go that far. But what we're talking about is DFS and how many are really guys that you are pouring over. In F1, you are looking at all 20 of those drivers because every one of them is capable of getting into the top 10, even the back of the field. Even the mid-pack can battle on a given week. So there are 20 drivers that you're exploring in F1. When you're looking at the Truck Series, 15 of those trucks don't have stats that really even matter. And thinking about looking at stats, if you like researching lap times, statistics, history, current form, trends, F1 is full of it. There is tons of data to go over. You can look at every single turn, on throttle, off throttle. You, unlike in NASCAR, have access to advanced telemetry for free. And you can watch onboard cameras for every single driver, for every single lap through F1 TV. It sounds like I am shilling for F1, but what I would love to see all this stuff exist in NASCAR, and I think maybe when Amazon Prime takes over, they're going to bring a lot of what F1 does and give you direct access in practice to every single driver's laps. Maybe not the data, but maybe the onboard for every single driver. That would be amazing. Hopefully we get that, but you already get that in F1. You can watch it all. You get multiple feeds. If you don't want in-car, you can get the world feed, you can get the data feed, you can get the second data feed. There is so much to do for every practice, every qualifying. Do you like sports reporters that dig deep into everything? If you play fantasy football, we know we're reading beat reporters, and we're seeing what they're saying early in the week, and you're diving into all the different things in the coach speak. We don't necessarily get that in NASCAR. We don't really get the details. We often don't even find out if someone's not even going to make the grid in NASCAR. We don't get to find anything out about a lot of the lower series just because it's the way that it rolls. No reason complaining about that. But in F1, you have an expansive, intensive, extensive media presence. And it's not just your bland old beat reporters doing soft ball pieces. We're talking guys that understand physics and mechanics, breaking everything down. It's very intense if you like to get into it. So If you're into the truck series, then you really should consider giving F1 a shot, because when we really compare the two, although with our eyeballs, it seems like, oh, these are two wildly different sports. When we really look at the action and how the races unfold, and then look again from a DFS perspective, there really isn't that much of a difference. Feel free to absolutely troll me in the comments. Feel free to light me up in the comments, to burn me up. But you can also burn me and say, but I appreciate you bringing up this point. I'll give you a like. I'll give you a subscribe. I'll give you a share. But yeah, give me a comment. You can feel free to disagree. Not trying to do clickbait, not shilling for F1. They're not going to pay me any money. I just, from my perspective, thought, that is kind of an interesting, it's not necessarily an analogy. Came to the conclusion, like, yeah, there are some very strange, peculiar similarities between these two series. And if it's framed accordingly, might actually get some people to think about the F1 series, or even F1 fans to see the truck series in a different light. So check it out. Look, it's not the most complete, accurate depiction, but there is something there. Thanks, guys. I am blessed to have you guys viewing. We're hitting some big time numbers. We're pumping out tons of videos. Everything is working. It is good times here. Good vibes. Love you guys. Trip to Life's fantastic.